it. And that leads to another thing I wanted to ask you about, because you've been able to work with a lot of people. You help them in communicating, which means there's a lot of psychology in that, of getting along with people, how to get the job done when you're dealing with difficult people without offending them. You don't want to offend. You sometimes need to be there with them. Sometimes one part of you is saying, I'll tell them what I think, and that wouldn't be the appropriate strategy at this point. So how do you deal with difficult people when it's a particularly tough challenge to communicate with them?
Terry, I was in management for 20 years before I became a communication consultant, speaker, coach. I was in management, vice president of 3 colleges and a medical center. And during that time, I wish I had known early in my career what I learned later. Early in my career, I heard about these instruments that you would complete, and they would talk to you about your communication style. And to be just candid about it, I was very skeptical. I thought, it's just something psychologists thought up, and how could answering 24 questions tell anything about you? And so I dodged those. And then one time in my career, when I was job searching, I went to what we would call a headhunter. And the headhunter said, after a few minutes, your resume looks excellent. We've enjoyed talking with you. We've just got one more step, and we have this instrument we want you to complete. And so by now, I couldn't dodge it anymore. So I took the DISC, Personal Style Analysis Survey. They don't call it
very
a
popular.
test. Yes. And all of a sudden, when I got that report, and this was so long ago, I didn't get it. I got it in a paper handout before they got into technology. And I remember Terry looking at that and thinking, good heavens alive, who has been watching me shave every morning? Who knows me that well? I only filled out 24 little blanks, and they have got me nailed. And not only that, the greater thing was, not only did I begin to see my own communication style, but it described to me the other communication styles. I'm a very high I out of the DISC. And it told me how to relate to those other styles. And I had been missing that all these years. So I became well acquainted with DISC, working through Target Training International. And that's something that I have administered to individual clients and to corporations. And then we talk about what that means in their interacting. So to boil it down, the simplest way to deal with difficult people is, first of all, to understand it's okay for them to be different.
Very important.
Yes, we're not all cut out of a mold. And it does not make them odd. It does not make you odd. It's just, this is the way they are wired to communicate.
Yeah, it doesn't make them wrong either.
That's right. Doesn't make them wrong either. So when I learned that, not only did that help my professional relationships, it helped my personal relationships too. You knew my wife, Sandra, and
Yes,
I can still remember when I brought that report home and handed it to her to read. Sandra was not the type to just have a big belly laugh, but when she read my report, she really got on the floor and started rolling around laughing. And she said, have they ever more got you tagged? I said, okay, now we're going to have DISC administered to you. Which
ooh.
And I said, now we've got you tagged. Really, couples should have this.
Thank you.
Dating couples should have it. Married couples should have it. Every board should have it. Teams should have it, so that we see, gosh, this person over here is always such a rule book Rudolph. They just tie us down. But guess what? They're contributing to the organization because they keep us from going away from our bylaws and our budget and other important items. So it's a great eye opener to me to realize that being different is okay. And the difficult part of dealing with them is simply because we don't understand who they are and how they communicate. When we learn that, we all get to communicate much more clearly and much more constructively as well.